All right, you're tuned into Bare Knuckle Bowker, and very excited to be talking to an individual making their BKB debut. They've already fought in Bare Knuckle. They had an impressive BKFC outing, but now taking to the mighty Trigon to take on Bianca Daimoni, a former welterweight title challenger, and a very intriguing super lightweight bout set for BKB 58. August 29th is going to be an awesome card in Miami, Florida, and great having my guest Aspen Ladd on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. How you doing, Aspen?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. And yeah, very excited for what's coming.
And I'm curious because last time we saw you out was in that BKFC debut that I referenced in the intro, and a very exciting entry into that world. I guess, like, what does the timeline look like from like last November to where we're at now, where you're readying to fight in the mighty Trigon as opposed to, I guess, another BKFC fight, say?
It was a whole lot of being told you're gonna fight, you have a fight, or we're trying to get you a fight, and then nothing. And I'm not okay with waiting for 6, 7, 8 months and fighting maybe once a year. That's not cool. I want to build a record. I want to, well, in bare knuckle, I've done other things, obviously, but I enjoyed what I did, and I enjoy the sport of bare knuckle. But you can't low or learn, grow anything in fighting once a year, right? So I was like, this is not working for me. So we ventured out, had discussions with other people that were incredibly professional, started having that conversation, and yeah, I ended up with BKB because I liked everything about him.
Yeah, no, for sure. And definitely want to delve into that piece a bit more. But it seems like how you were, I guess, talking about that, there were multiple, I guess, prospective suitors. And I'd seen a post you had where it was talking about how you're one of the more like well traveled prize fighters, like UFC, Bellator, PFL, BKFC. You could go on. Like, were there other promotions that were, I guess, holding particular intrigue for you? I mean, you're a multi sport combat athlete. So there could be like a few potential options there, I would think.
So the cool thing is with BKB, and I can still compete in other combat sports if I choose to, but right now, bare knuckle is my focus, right? So they're my home for that. If I choose to go another route, it has to make sense time-wise with what I'm doing with BKB. And yeah, obviously I'm MMA. MMA is my first love, and it's something that I'm good at and I enjoy. So could I return to MMA at some point? Yes, but BKB will still be my home for bare knuckle fighting.
I feel like BKB is so good with that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like they really, in a lot of ways, embody, I guess, that opportunity to have fighters live that independent contractor life in like a demonstrable kind of way. Like, people always talk about that, but then there's like these exclusive, like rigid contracts. But great that you're able to, I guess, pursue these different opportunities if you choose to. But it's exciting that you're, I guess, so squarely focused on BKB. That being said.
Yeah, no, one of I mean, there's many factors of why I chose to go with them, but one of the things I saw leading up to it was how they supported their BKB athletes in their boxing fights, right? Like they're fully supportive. There's no anger, no issues. It's like, okay, they don't just say you have an opportunity to, they're real about it, right? So that made me feel a lot better because obviously I want to do multiple things, even though this is my focus at the moment, and it will continue to be. My entire goal with this organization is get the belt, and then there's multiple weight classes I could fight in, right? So I am on a quest for belts at BKB.
Oh, interesting. So we're thinking multi-division championship goals, ideally.
It's very possible. So where I'm at right now, the 140-pound weight class is perfect for me, right? But there's two other options here, but they would have to make sense. So, and that's another reason, the boxing weight classes. My entire life, I would have been a 140. For me, 135 is very, very difficult, but doable with the right circumstances. 147 is easy. 140 is perfect. So, depending on where the opportunities take us, we'll see.
And it seems like you're already on certain radars immediately, which I would think maybe would impart a certain level of a particular feeling. Like, I guess the thing I'm referencing is I saw BKB champ Jamie Driver posted a smiley face emoji on a Tim Wheaton Instagram post regarding your signing to BKB. So the big title holders are already noticing your inclusion into the fold, it seems like.
Oh, I certainly should be.
No, I love that. And I guess I'm just curious because like you seem like very like ardently focused on the bare knuckle path. Like, was there something about the BKFC debut that felt like innately like within your wheelhouse where you're like, oh, okay, like this really lit a particular spark to where I want to pursue it in this certain way? Like, was there like a certain revelatory piece that's inspiring this like broader path in the world of gloveless combat there?
It did. So there's always some trepidation when you take on anything new, right? Especially bare knuckle. And coming over from MMA, you think about it as like, oh, there's no protection. My face is gonna get broken. I'm gonna break my hands every time I fight. There's gonna be a lot of physical toll. We're gonna take a lot of time off in between. But the reality of that, at least for me, it's not for everybody, right? Is came out of it fine. My hands felt better than they do with because the MMA gloves are they're weird. Like your hands are pulled in odd directions. The solidness of being up well, and we also trained very, very specifically to hit right, to get stronger, to make sure that you don't whack something you shouldn't, let's say, for months and months and months on end. So the precision. So you focus more on precision and less protection, but getting in there and actually experience it, the bare bones quality of the combat, I loved it. Like I like getting right to the point when you fight, right? I don't, it's like there's no time to be boring with bare knuckle. And obviously with BKFC, their ring's even a little bit bigger than the Trigon. I haven't been in a real one yet, but we've like mapped it out in the gym. Like there is absolutely no breathing room. It's gonna be go and you're on each other, which I like. Like I like that part of fighting, right? So yes, it was kind of a revelation for me. It's like, okay, this is not exactly what I thought going in. I really like this. I want to keep doing this. So that's been my goal since the first fight. It just getting drug out as far as when that fight would be.
And honestly, like similar wavelength, that was my first thought when I saw you signed to BKB because like your BKFC fight was obviously quite impressive, but the compact nature of the Trigon and just like your fighting style that I've seen over the years in multiple combat sports now, I was like, oh, this is like a match made in heaven. Like this is going to be a barn burner kind of thing.
Most certainly. Yeah. No, so as soon as I saw it, it's like, oh, this is kind of exciting. So I remember we put it all down because you do that too for MMA, whatever sport you're fighting in and whatever size ring you're fighting in. For your sparring, you map it out. It's like, oh, this is tiny. It's nice.
And I've heard of people doing that too, like curating their own like trigons in their gym and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, good on you to create that familiarity piece. And yeah, I've been noticing like a lot of that kind of specific work, which I mean doesn't surprise me. You seem like a very methodical, calculated fighter, like the bare knuckle conditioning work and things of that persuasion and just like really specifically tailored work for the sport. So yeah, I love to see all that. I love the behind the scenes kind of pieces too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you don't really, I mean, everybody shares their training clips, right? But there's a lot you don't talk about, and if you just do it, right? But like the behind the scenes things, and I don't know how other people are doing it for bare knuckle. I know how old timers did it because of my only former coach, because he retired. He had done bare knuckle in his youth, so we did a lot of things that he had done preparing when he was fighting. But yeah, so I don't know how everybody's doing it. I just know that there are certain steps we've been taking to do it right, basically.
Does he know a lot of those like sneaky like bare knuckle fighting tricks, like sneak a like a knuckle underneath the ribs kind of thing? Like I sometimes hear that from these like older time bare knuckle guys and like their accounts of the olden days fighting and etc.
Everything's a little bit different. And back then there was rules were kind of a suggestion as opposed to a fixated thing. So yeah, he knows all kinds of things.
No, it's just really exciting stuff, and I feel like you're entering the Trigon with like a very pedigreed opponent that can get you like right into the fold. Like I mentioned at the beginning, former title challenger in the bare knuckle world and everything like that. Like, what are your thoughts on, I guess, just what Daimoni brings to the table as an opponent here in Miami at month's end?
Yeah, no, she'll be a tough opponent. That's not a walkthrough whatsoever. She has experience. She looks solid. Um, she's obviously fought for you guys, or not you guys, but she's fought for BKB a couple times now, and one of them was against the title holder. But she's got MMA experience too, so she should be a little bit more aware of certain things there. But yeah, she's going to be a tough and beyond worthy opponent to get it all this show basically as party started with. But yeah, no, she's going to be tough.
And I guess just mentioning those pieces to fit within your prior, I guess, reference of wanting to be like a multi-division champion. Like I feel like this would be the exact kind of person to like vault you in that direction. So yeah, I imagine you were excited when that opportunity initially came your way and a very stacked card overall too. So yeah, I love to see it.
No, I was thrilled, and that was the other thing. So BKB is, for lack of a better way to put it, on their shit. So from the time that you're taught, they answer every question, right? But from the time you sign with them to when you have a book or a fight booked to, and you could obviously ask for certain things, right?
Mhm.
And originally, after we'd done the signing, they wanted me a little bit further out. But it's like, so I've been in camp forever. It's like, I would really like to fight if it's okay a little bit sooner than that. So I ended up getting the Miami card, which I'm so grateful for. And then within 2 days, they had an opponent booked. Like just how concise they are with everything. It's like, this is fantastic. And then they sent over her name. It's like, okay, it's a tough chick. That's great. Like, just it's been smooth. It's been a very smooth transition.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that from a lot of fighters that have fought for BKB, just like the fluidity and I guess professionalism of everything. And yeah, I love to see it. And it's kind of an interesting time to be, I guess, like in the bare knuckle space, regardless if you're like a media
Mhm.
person, a fighter, whatever specific role you have, like just even in the sense of like that bit of almost like cross programming that's going on August 29th with BKFC having that Fenway Park event and stuff like that. It just seems like there's going to be a lot for, bare knuckle enthusiasts to take in and a lot of opportunities for, bare knuckle fighters to ply their trade as well.
Yeah. No, I was just talking about this the other day, and this is my theory, but I think it has something to do with social media and how we've become so interested in short form content, right? You have the standard MMA fight. You got 5 minutes. There could be some grappling, which for me that's exciting. I'm a grappler, but it's not always most exciting to watch. But you have with the bare knuckle fights 2 minutes of violence from start to finish. So it is short form, short term violence. It's easy to watch, easy to consume. So my theory, and this is my theory, is with the way that we are programmed now with social media for that short term or short form content, it's one of the reasons bare knuckle is exploding. Besides the fact, obviously, it's entertaining, but it's quick entertainment, and it's exploded with everywhere. So these are not the only two organizations now. That obviously there's multiple, and I even know personally, it's just hard to get promoted in certain states. That there's multiple other organizations trying to come into the light right now, like trying to be almost like you have amateur MMA, pro MMA, but like regional level, right? And then you have the big leagues.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people trying to do it. It's just hard to secure the licenses to do it. And then whatever that was, the Russian one just came over to the United States for the first one. Like there's a lot going on with bare knuckle, but I don't know what your opinion is on it. That's just my theory.
Like in the sense of like the I guess short form nature of it feeding into like the algorithm considerations of today. Is that what you're saying?
Feeding more and less into our attention spans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I don't know. That's even something I need to be more mindful of, I suppose, in what I'm doing. I guess like a lot of the stuff that I do is, I guess like maybe more like long form feature articles, like longer winded speaking, I suppose. Like I need to be a little more succinct. So yeah, that is sort of in the landscape nowadays too. Like I definitely see what you're saying, and I think that's a big piece of it. And even anecdotally, like one of my ex-girlfriends from I guess X amount of years ago, like I tried to show her different combat sports and just nothing. I feel like the boredom kind of settled in kind of quickly, especially for like MMA and stuff like that. Like the duration of the rounds always got her, but then bare knuckle is just like, yeah, okay, they're just getting right to the point sort of thing. And I felt like it was that attention span kind of piece.
I think very much so, like especially if you don't have an appreciation for combat sports to begin with. But
Yeah.
anybody looking over and seeing like somebody get popped and dropped, like it's gonna catch you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was funny. Like one of the fights I remember showing her was with Gustavo Trujillo, and she was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't have any marks on his face. Are you sure he's a fighter?" And it's like he just generates results like that. So he is an exciting fight on this card too. One of the top guys in the sport, if not the number one pound for pound in many's eyes.
Yeah, no, I was watching some of his stuff because I'm trying to familiarize. Don't quote me on it because I'm trying to familiarize myself with everybody else on the card and the style.
Mm-hmm.
BKB really heavily leans into people with heavy striking backgrounds, which is very cool. Like there's a lot of talent.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a massively stacked kind of event in that regard. And I feel like they're bringing over a lot of like prolific gloved boxers like Yuriorkis Gamboa, former Olympic gold medalist. Like that's a very intriguing fight. And like Lee Selby fighting kind of recently in the UK. Paulie Malignaggi fought for a title. I mean, you could kind of go on. So yeah, I love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of elite pedigreed boxers. But I feel like the MMA fighters come over with a lot of like that familiarity with like the clinch fighting kind of piece. I guess it's interesting to see this develop in real time too, as like a bit of like a fight nerd, kind of like on the outside looking into the competitive piece. Just I guess seeing people like workshop their own styles in real time, and like you're seeing like the active clinch fighting from the MMA fighters really come to the fold. But I feel like you're seeing some boxers more recently like work that active clinch fighting more, even in like a defensive way to keep it at a further range. So yeah, it's exciting to see all those different pieces, like the changing, I guess, fighting modalities within this sport that's been more prevalent in recent years.
Definitely. And it's still, I mean, it's not super, super new, but this form of it is. So you're seeing it, as you said, evolve in real time. And there's going to be different skill sets brought to the, like myself, grappler, MMA, and other MMA fighters. We're going to be more aware in those situations because we have to be. It's what we've done forever. Whereas boxers, they are going to be obviously cleaner, more traditional strikers. But if you're not aware of the clinch work, that's a very it's an easy way to slow somebody down that might be more athletic and a little bit more have a little more power than you, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
have to be aware in that sense for sure. And MMA type people need to be aware of where their attributes are.
And it's interesting because I do feel like, I mean, you touched on it there in a certain way. Like it's like this permutation of the sport is kind of newer in a way, but it's really the oldest combat sport in many
Yeah.
regards. And within that, like BKB having that Police Gazette championship belt, like is there a certain importance piece to you? I mean, obviously you're looking to win the title and it represents a certain thing, just being the best in your given division, but even like the historical piece, like is that something that resonates with you in a particular way, like that Police Gazette belt?
Very much so. I'm also a history nerd. So seeing that and then really looking into the history of it, because I was vaguely aware just because I'm a combat sports nerd. This is not just what I do. I've done it forever and I like to learn and know. And anyway, but yeah, no, that's definitely a big deal as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, it's like a rebirth almost of the original combat, which is very cool.
In a very combat savvy family, it seems like there's a deep appreciation for combat sports all through the Ladd family. I saw Sheila Ladd got a victory there at LFA. So, I mean, not super recent per se, but still tip of the cap all the same.
Oh, that poor guy was trying. So he was so actually him and my team. So Fluffy, he's headlining Sacramento that week, the weekend before I fight. And then Shaler was supposed to, he had an opponent forever. He's supposed to fight for LFA the night before, along with one of my other teammates, a heavyweight Ryan Freinayu. But Shay's opponent backed out like 3 weeks ago. And they were trying all up until this last Sunday to get him one. But yeah, he's 4-1 right now in LFA. And a very, very exciting prospect as far as light heavyweight goes. But he's been training forever. He's been coming to the gym and he loves it too. And then my little sister, Abby, she's in wrestling now in the stud. It was her, she, last year was her freshman year and she's doing it. So yeah, it's just really awesome to see because I know the positives and the negatives of everything. So I've lived it, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
can kind of steer them in a certain way, but also when something bad happens, you relate in a different way. So it's really terrible for me to watch, but I'm very happy for them to experience the great parts of it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get where you're coming from, but it's cool that you have some like quasi level of control, like at least in like the mentorship kind of piece that you were talking about, like guiding them through certain moments that, you know, you have the benefit of experience from to kind of impart that to them. So, yeah, that would be a hard one for me. Like I have siblings too, like seeing them fight, I think would create certain complicated pieces sometimes. So I can kind of understand that facet as well.
It's horrific. I want to barf the entire time. Absolutely terrible. Even her wrestling matches are terrible, but it's just, it's awful. But I'm happy for him, but it's awful. And I'll support him in every way I can, but it's still like you want to just barf everywhere.
I was gonna say not that I'm encouraging you to barf per se, but I was gonna say maybe your sister could get an RAF someday, and maybe you can have like a barf bag and be like quasi close or something like that. But just I guess another point of there's like different
Yeah,
opportunities for combat athletes out there nowadays.
very much so. RAF is amazing too. They've really exploded in the last year. And that's also the amazing things. Oh, and she'll have every opportunity if she wishes that they're doing stuff with the youth now too. But BKB allows you to compete everywhere. So you never know as far as things like that go.
Yeah, it just seems like a more exciting kind of landscape, at least
Mhm.
potentially for MMA as well. And I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't get some of your thoughts on that recent merger. Like I saw you kind of were talking about it on
Yeah.
Instagram a bit, but yeah, just curious for your thoughts on that. Like, what do you think of that merger and I guess what it could do in terms of creating a certain ripple effect in the MMA space?
I think as long as MVPs of the takes control of the situation, it's a great thing. So I lived real time the merger with Bellator, right? Because I was there at that time. They had 145-pound weight class, which is where I was fighting in both PFL and Bellator. Bellator was the longest standing one. So there was high level opportunity for women in that weight class in those promotions. So you would think when PFL joined with another promotion with the weight classes, they just take in all the other fighters, right? They ran it into the ground. Like they did not handle that situation well. There's champions not fighting for months and months and months. They completely killed off that weight class, which was obviously not great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so going into that one, you were excited. Seeing how they handled it, not at all. But since then, they have new leadership. And speaking with MVP and how knowing how they have treated the fighters, primarily the female, like they've done more for females in combat sports than anybody since Ronda getting into the UFC. So I am a big fan of how they're handling not only females in the sport, but their promotion in general. They're more of a let's partner and we'll all be successful kind of thing. So I think as long as, but here's the thing, I've not spoken with and I have no communication with the new owners of PFL. So I don't know how they're handling things. However, with this merger, I think as long as MVP has the reins there, I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, because I'd seen you had a comment on a certain Instagram post that seemed like, I guess, quasi similar to maybe like the BKFC experience, like at least insofar as like the, I guess, lack of like a defined schedule, like wanting to compete but not really getting the clarity with that there. So yeah, I mean, it is an interesting time. Hopefully, yeah, they can do some great things with that. And yeah, fair play. I feel like MVP has been really leading the charge with women's combat sports in general. Like you really see that with boxing for sure. And then like the Ronda Gina fight. So yeah, definitely really put a spotlight on that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And no, so the PFL was great. They were great. So I enjoyed everything about the tournament format and all that stuff. And they were fantastic in the beginning. It's just from that merger onward, not so much. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And I reference this because there's some rumblings about when this fight could potentially be booked. And within your PFL run, you did fight Kayla Harrison. And I was at the
Good.
PFL San Diego fight week. And I thought it was a little curious because I was talking to Chris Cyborg and I asked her about that rumored Kayla Harrison Amanda Nunes fight. I referenced it in the context of her fighting Nunes previously. And I was like, yeah, like, do you have any insights into if that fight will happen this calendar year? What are your thoughts? And she kind of teased that maybe she's heard some rumblings about an early fall title fight. Like, what would your thoughts be on that particular fight, Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes? That would seem like a huge one.
That one's a tough one only because if it was prime Amanda Nunes when she was hungry, she was champ, I think she would take it. But she's been out of it for a long time. She's made astronomical amounts of money. If she doesn't have that same fire, Kayla will handle her. And we've seen that happen before with it's been a very long time. She went on what the kids would call a generational run, right? But she can be broken and she can lose. And if she's put into a bad position, we've seen her break. So after so long, but also Kayla's coming back from a big surgery. So she needs to come back fully from that. So it's hard. Prime Amanda Nunes, I'd say Amanda. Right now, I'd say Kayla.
That's fair context because I'd seen, I guess, circa May 2024, the headline from Sherdog was from you was nobody in UFC's bantamweight division will beat Kayla Harrison. Is that still, even outside of the Nunes, I guess, the localized tendril, is that like a broader sentiment you still have?
They asked me that, and I remember telling them that no, not a single one will be able to outgrapple her. They'll give her Ketlin Vieira, and Ketlin will be able to survive her, but she won't come out with a win. And no, there's not a single woman in that division that will challenge her right now.
And I guess since we've kind of mentioned both of the names, I didn't necessarily think to ask this, but I guess kind of organically coming up as we're talking, like, what are your thoughts on that Chris Cyborg versus Ketlin Vieira fight coming up at PFL Tampa? It seems like Cyborg is mentioning this could be her last MMA fight and whatnot. Like, what are your thoughts on that particular contest there?
Yeah, Cyborg's an absolute legend of the sport, but she's been teasing for a long time that this would be her last MMA fight. Will it be? Who knows? but she said that for quite a while, and they had to find somebody to bring over for her to fight. She was the only one left, the only 45er in the entire promotion under contract, right? So they would have to find somebody. And Ketlin's about as good an opponent as they can get. I think it's very possible it can go to a decision, honestly, but I don't know. Cyborg's so explosive.
Yeah, just either way, an exciting kind of fight and everything like that. So yeah, I just love to see that and everything like that. Just yeah, Chris Cyborg has just has such a great tenure in the sport and such a massive ledger. But yeah, I guess there is that kind of piece where maybe there's been a couple mentions about hanging up the gloves. I guess like she still has certain boxing aspirations too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
She keeps calling out Shields over and over because I know they've sparred before, but I highly doubt it'll ever happen, but you never know. It's the same as like the Ronda fight. That's never going to happen, but who knows?
Yeah, because I saw some like loose report of that the other day where it's like, oh, they're discussing doing that with the MVP banner and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't necessarily see that transpiring. Like I think Rhonda had her, I guess, like swan song, like ideal wrapping up of the story, that cross generational Gina fight. It's like, yeah, if you have like a picture perfect kind of ending like that, it's like, yeah, you're kind of better off to ride in the sunset in a certain regard, or at least some people kind of have that perception of all that.
Very much so. That fight was very similar because people hate on things without knowledge or without knowing, but it's very similar to when Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson. Tyson needed that. Like, I mean, obviously it's a lot of eyeballs on the sport, right? But Tyson needed that. Carano needed that. And it was a fantastic thing. We all tuned in, we all watched. And people are like, they're horrible for doing this. No, they're not. That was a gift. Like, are you kidding? But yeah, Rhonda's teased at basically wanting, it almost sounds like promoting, doesn't it? Like it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
she's thinking, and I hope she does. You have somebody with that attitude, like, I don't give a flying F what you
Mm-hmm.
say or do. I'm going to do it the right way and the way I think's the right way. I hope she does get into it, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, she has such like a way to, I guess, articulate herself on the microphone and stuff like that. And I've seen her mention that a couple of times. Yeah, I feel like she would be a good representation for that and would bolster already great efforts focusing on women combat sports that we were talking about before there. So yeah, she has a certain way with the microphone. She's got a very, I guess, like fiery kind of like passion for the sport clearly and for, fighter advocacy too. So yeah, that would be cool to see. I'd like to see that.
At this point, she's almost taken, I mean, you gotta take that with a grain of salt with the way social media is, but she almost puts herself in the villain role and she's done it for a long time. It's like, fuck all you guys, I'm gonna do it the way that I think is right. And it's like, respect it, man. They can't tell you what to do. You're independently successful. You've done all these things. So yeah, Rhonda, please get into promoting. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I guess some people don't really like get dissuaded from being perceived in like the heel role, to use like the pro wrestling kind of parlance, because like I think there's a certain value to like generating attention one way or the other, and that don't give an F attitude you were talking about certainly. I think in dear bits of both, like there's going to be some people who like perceive that in a type of way, and then maybe some people who just love that. And yeah, I mean, I probably fit more within the latter description. Like I think it's cool to kind of just be yourself, and if people want to criticize that, it's like, oh cool, I'm just going to keep doing my thing though.
I agree with you, but like everybody finds their own route to success, right? Like, and a lot of people, by being the character, by being whatever, some of them are natural, but most of them it is completely a character. Like if you meet somebody in real life,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a couple that are actually like, oh, you're a dick in real life too. But there's not many that are authentically assholes.
Were the dicks in real life? I mean, I shouldn't ask you, but it's just my natural curiosity piece. Like, is there anyone that stands out with that, or is that kind of like a plead the fifth kind of situation?
There is, but I'm definitely going to plead the fifth on that one.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that does kind of articulate the pro wrestling presence that sometimes in the sport. And I wonder how much of like the fact that you don't really play into like that social media game in general. Like, I feel like you don't really engage in the social media histrionics. Like, I feel like if anything, you're always like, walking your dogs out in the mountains, doing spiritually nourishing kind of things, as opposed to how a lot of social media seems to be. Like, how important is it to have that kind of piece just for, I guess, like clarity, just like well-roundedness of lifestyle, etc.?
Yeah, for me, that is just my life. So yeah, we all have to do social media, right? And it's a part of what we do. And they legitimately will negotiate your contracts off it, how many eyeballs you pull, how many followers you have.
Mm-hmm.
But for me because I'm not naturally, I don't fit into the category we were speaking about before. So I was like, all right, I'll do more of like a visual diary and just actually what I am. And that is what I am on my social media is like I train, hang out with my siblings a lot, always out in the mountains, hiking, road trip, just doing all kinds of stuff, right? So I was like, all right, we'll go visual diary and we'll see if it works. It works for me without having to be as like, I hate everybody and I'll be a big scary dickhole. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I don't know how to put it, honestly.
No, I mean, fair. That's a fair way to put it. I think there's something about the authenticity piece that I feel like radiates as well. And it kind of reminds me of like a prior time we were talking when you were in PFL. There was a quote from your then manager where he was talking about how you only do two things: you train and you hike, and there's nothing else. So it's authentic in that sense. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you could be successful being just you.
I love that. That's a great parting thought, or could even serve as a great parting thought. But I did want to give you the floor if you had anything you felt inclined to add as we're kind of wrapping up here on Bare Knuckle Bowker. I really do appreciate the time and insights today, Aspen.
No, that was a very good conversation. You got me thinking about some things I haven't thought about in a while. And yeah, just I'm thrilled to finally be back fighting. I get to fight for Bare Knuckle or BKB. Yeah, Bare Knuckle BKB. If I spell it out, I always stumble. But I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be here and I'm thrilled for what's next.
Yeah, you've taken on so many high level opponents over the years and stuff like that. You've even taken on a dislodged couch coming at you on the freeway. I understand a sectional
That's
came at
bad.
you.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. This would be an ad. I'm not sponsored by Toyota, but I have a TRD Pro 4Runner, so it's armored underneath. Basically, I have skid plates. And if I didn't, oh my God, I don't know what a situation I would have ended up in after that. But yeah, a guy didn't secure it. I couldn't swerve, so we went over the couch. I needed a new skid plate and a new bumper, but besides that, I'm golden. The car's great. So there's a ad for Toyota, not sponsored.
Maybe if you get your ideal outcome in the BKB Mighty Trigon, you can parlay it into that sponsorship, something like that.
Oh, that'd be badass. You never
But
know.
this is certainly going to be a badass fight. I know that Bianca Daimoni, a very experienced, proven fighter as you are. So yeah, when I saw this matchup was announced, I reached out to Dawn right away to set this up. And yeah, super stoked for Miami and one of the more intriguing fights on this card on August 29th for my money. But again, to reiterate, Aspen, thank you for appearing on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. And yeah, looking forward to checking out the fight when it goes down. But until then, you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you for having me.